A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel that they bring unto thee pure oil olive, beaten for the light, to cause the lamps to burn continually in the tabernacle of the congregation. And it shall be a statute forever in your generation.
The eternal light. The National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations make free time available to present The Eternal Light, a program which comes to you under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. Today's program, Aarn the Cobbler and the Western Wall, was written by Ernest Kenoy. Roni v'simchi b'astion ki hineni vo v'shochanti v'sochef neyum Hashem.
Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for lo, I come, and I will dwell in the midst of them, saith the Lord. And many nations shall join themselves to the Lord in that day, and shall be my people. And I will dwell in the midst of thee, and thou shalt know that the Lord of hosts
hath sent me unto thee. Each year at the Sabbath, these words from Zechariah are recited as the scriptural passage after the reading of the Torah in the synagogue. And each year I go home and take down the books from my shelf and read the passage and commentaries upon it. For it was my bar mitzvah text, the one I read aloud to the congregation, to prove that a 13-year-old boy in blue serge knickers was a man ready to take a man's place in the synagogue. Now the words are words of vision and promise, and my bar mitzvah memory is a happy one. But I think the deeper reason that sends me each year to my book is a story my mother told me of her father. This passage was his bar mitzvah text also in the old country. Each year when we come to this portion of the service, I remember the story of my grandfather, Rabbi David the scholar, when he was young David the student, many, many years ago. Aarn the Cobbler was a busy man. Nobody in the village could ever remember seeing him without his hammer in his hand, stitching on an old boot or a harness strap.
Haven't got time for any foolishness. Idle talk won't cobble shoes.
And Aarn didn't waste time. From the first glimmer of dawn till his old oil lamp sputtered out late in the evening, he sat astride his cobbler's bench, tapping away, cutting, sewing.
Aarn.
Mm-hmm.
Your supper, Aarn. It's getting cold.
Mm-hmm.
Aarn, how am I supposed to understand you with your mouth full of nails?
Mm-hmm. Just put it down on the bench.
Your supper? Now, Aarn, you come in and eat at the table like a man.
Can't. Got to finish Reb Joseph's boots.
But your supper...
Put it down, Bronca. I can eat it between nails.
And so every night Aarn would sit at his cobbler's bench eating his supper between nails. A slice of radish, a spoon of potato soup. Radish, potato. and for dessert, tea. And his wife, Bronca, would stand in the kitchen door and shake her head sadly.
How can a man eat between meals? He might as well chew on the leather. Even if it's thin potato soup, a man should eat supper at the table with his children.
But Aarn kept on at his bench, and in time he became so skillful that he could nail on a pair of heels with one hand and fish the potato out of his soup with the other, all at the same time. Now it happened that one night Aarn was just finishing his supper and a pair of shoes for His Excellency the landowner's wife, all at the same time. His Excellency, the landowner's wife, was a particularly robust lady, and so Aarn was swinging his hammer with a fine, round stroke, and the tap, tap, tap echoed from the rafters.
Aarn! Aarn!
So?
Stop hammering a minute.
Well, what's so important that I should stop work?
We've got company, Aarn. Here's David, the yeshiva student.
Shalom, Reb Aarn.
Aarn, nails in the mouth again.
Shalom, Reb David.
Reb Aarn, excuse me. Do you think you could stop hammering for just a few minutes?
Certainly, Reb David. I have to start stitching.
Well, it's a little quieter anyway.
A slice of bread, Red David? A bowl of soup, maybe?
Well, yes, it would be nice. Yesterday I fasted.
You fast, Reb David?
Once a week. A secret, Reb Aarn. It's not so much piety, but when you don't have anything to eat, it tastes better if it's a fast.
Oh, don't apologize. I know how you students eat. Hand out at the back door, sleeping on the benches in the synagogue. 1 minute. At least we can give you a slice of bread.
Oh, thank you.
2 slices.
Well, David, pass that glue pot.
Oh, certainly. Now, Reb Aarn, I have something important to tell you. Something that we've been waiting for 1,000 years, for thousands of years.
Thousands, huh? Pass me that awl, Red David.
Oh, the awl? Certainly. Think, Reb Aarn. Think of this. Suppose in the year of the fall of the temple...
Cursed be the day.
Amen. Well, suppose on that day the Jews took 1 penny, 1 copper penny, and put it in the bank with interest.
1 penny. So?
At the end of only 400 years after the fall, do you know how much money there would be?
No, how much?
Well, I don't know exactly. I'm a student of Torah and Talmud, not mathematics. But it would be millions.
So it would be millions. Look out.
What?
You're sitting on the leather.
Oh, sorry.
So, now you've got millions. For what?
For what? For the land. To redeem the soil of the Holy Land for Israel. To buy back the inheritance of Moses.
Good idea.
A good idea. Reb Aarn, it's a dream. A glorious, wonderful dream. Like the prophets. Like the visions of Isaiah.
Too bad nobody invested that penny.
But if Israel had enough to redeem the land today, if all the oppressed people all over the world had a homeland, if the Holy Land of Israel was...
If Grandma had wheels, she'd be a wagon.
But that's the point, Reb Aarn. On paper, the Jews didn't invest a penny, but God invested them.
Oh, now you're a philosopher. I don't understand.
Look, Reb Aarn, how many Jews do you think there are to help redeem the Holy Land, Eretz Yisrael?
Well, there's the Baron Rothschild and the Brodskys and...
No. I mean, how many poor Jews are there?
Poor Jews? Who knows? How many grains of sand on a beach?
Exactly. Now, what if all of them got together and gave just a penny a week? Why, there'd be the millions all over again.
Back to millions. I'm getting dizzy.
So I've brought you a box. A box.
Look, Red David, I'm a simple man, a cobbler, but I can read the Bible. I take my turn in the synagogue reading the text. I'm as smart as the next man. But still, I don't see what a box has to do with all those millions.
It's a white box, Reb Aarn, with a blue star on it. And all over the world, the Jewish people are putting them in their homes. Think, Reb Aarn, boxes all over the world. And all over the world, students and teachers and pious people are going around to collect from the boxes. And all the pennies put together are going to redeem the Holy Land.
Listen, Reb David, I wouldn't want to have to stand on 1 foot till the pennies from my box bought a piece of land in Eretz Yisrael.
But you'll let me leave the box?
Certainly, leave the box. But, Reb David, I'm telling you the truth. The heavens could fall in before there'd be even a penny in the house of Aarn the Cobbler. Excuse me now, I've got a hammer.
blue-white Eretz box with the six-pointed star of his namesake, David the King. Aarn set it on the mantel, and David went out into the streets with a warm light in his eyes, which was lucky, for the street was cold. When his rounds were done, David the student went back to the synagogue where he slept, stretched out on the wooden benches. And through the sharp cold of the night, he dreamed of the hot sun swaying palm trees of the Holy Land, a land redeemed. So, in the house of Aarn the Cobbler, the blue-white box stood on the mantel. And every time Aarn looked at it, he gave an extra tap with his hammer, till one day he hit his thumb and stopped giving extra taps. And then, some months later, just as Aarn was finishing his supper with his hammer in his hand, David the student returned.
Sit down, Rev David. Our farmer paid for his boots with a few cabbages, and we still have some. I'll have a plate for you before you can sneeze.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, so thin. A wind could blow you to the next town.
No.
You wait. A fine plate of cabbage and a slice of bread.
Bread and cabbage. Always nothing but cabbage. Someday somebody will pay for shoes with money, and I won't know what it is.
Well, Rev Aarn, I'm back.
I see you. You're sitting on the leather again.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I've come to collect from your royal box.
Mm-hmm.
I've been out all evening after my studies collecting. Rev Aarn, I've never been so excited. I have them here, all the boxes. Listen. Rev Isaac, the miller. Rev Naphtali, the merchant. Rev Herschel, the innkeeper.
I'd bite all the coins in that one.
Rev Aarn. Now listen. Listen to all those boxes. There. You know what I hear, Rev Aarn? Plows turning the fields in the Holy Land. Cities shining under the sun, and schools to study Torah all day and all night. Books, old scrolls from museums, new books, commentaries.
You hear all that, huh?
Yes. So I've come for your box. It's over here on the mantel, right? All those clinking coins in the boxes, Rev Aarn. They're like the symbols in the Temple of Jerusalem. Here's your box. Now listen. Rev Aarn.
So, Rev David, I'm a poor man.
Poverty is no disgrace.
It's no great honor either.
Not one penny, one copper penny for the box.
Rev David, you could turn my clothes inside out all year and shake, and nothing would clink on the floor.
Rev Aarn.
Leather, glue, food for 7 children, rent to the landowner, nails. Rev David, you can't get 2 skins off 1 ox.
Hard times, Rev Aarn.
David, all this week we ate cabbage, nothing but cabbage. Last week it was potato soup. Why? Who in the village pays the cobbler with cash? They laugh at Aarn the cobbler, who hammers with one hand and eats his supper with the other. They laugh at Aarn, who falls asleep at night on his bench with his awl in one hand and a half-finished shoe in front of him. Believe me, Rev David, I don't do this for pleasure.
I'm sorry.
So go to Herschel the innkeeper for money to redeem the Holy Land.
But...
Go to the rich. Go to Baron Rothschild in Paris. Don't try to wring pennies out of Aarn the cobbler.
But the redemption of Israel must come from all the people. The land redeemed with this money will belong to all generations forever. For the earth and the fullness thereof is the Lord.
Verses. Listen, David. I'm a cobbler. My business is shoes. But don't think I don't know how important the study of Torah is. A long time ago, I wanted to be a student like you. But when I took up the cobbler's hammer, I laid down a scholar's pen for good. Holy law is not the business of shoemakers.
But...
Go study Torah. Study a little for me. But don't ask for a copper penny. Even in a good year, money and Aarn are perfect strangers.
Rev Aarn, I'll bring the box back tomorrow night. I have to report on the collection. But I'll be back tomorrow.
All right, bring back the box. But it's no use, Rev David, it's no use. Charity is a pleasure for the rich.
It's not charity, Rev Aarn.
What's the difference? For one poor man, nobody has need. Now, excuse me, I've got to get back to work.
Aarn worked into the night. For that week, the seller of leather would come with his account, and the landowner would call for his rent. So Aarn hammered and stitched until the oil lamp sputtered and smoked black, and the shadows leaped against the low ceiling. And then gradually, the hammer fell more slowly, The tap, tap, tap became softer and softer, and Aarn's head fell forward on his chest.
Can't fall asleep. Got to finish. What's that? Where am I?
The sky was blue, and the sun beat down hot and white on the hilltop, and against the sky the olive trees stood twisted and dark.
Where am I? There's no place like this in the village.
The hilltop was rocky, but the patches of grass showed a brilliant green under the hot sun. At the foot of the hill were the clustered buildings of the city. And then Aarn knew.
Eretz Yisrael, the holy land of Israel. And here I am, Aarn the Cobbler, with my hammer still in my hand.
Now up from the town wound a procession, priests in white and silver, and Levites blowing mighty music on the long silver trumpets. And then seated on a litter borne by 6 men, a figure of mighty majesty, a beard black as the storm cloud, a brow strong as the thunder, and eyes that flashed like the very bolt of lightning.
Solomon, the son of David the king. Solomon the wise.
Praise be to Solomon, king of Israel. Praise be to Solomon, son of David, the sweet singer in Israel, master of the beasts of the earth and of the spirits of the air. Praise be to Solomon the king.
Hear me, my people. On this hilltop in the holy city of Jerusalem will I build the temple of God. Here will rest the Ark of the Covenant, and here will the people of Israel worship God. And it shall be a holy place of all the people, and every soul in Israel shall say, that is my place.
And all this time, Aarn the cobbler stood on the hillside, his hammer in his hand, and marveled.
The holy temple, to be built before my very eyes. What would Reb David say to that?
And now suddenly on the hillside, the whole of Israel was assembled. The 12 tribes, the princes, the nobles, the farmers, the warriors, the laborers, and the multitude covered the hillside. Every soul in Israel stood silent to hear the words of Solomon the king. And Aarn stood silent with the rest, his hammer still in his hand.
Hear me, O Israel. Hear the order of the building of the house of the Lord. For it shall be a house built by all the people, that every soul in Israel may say, with my hand I helped build the house of the Lord. By lot have I ordered the work, and it shall be in this manner. To the princes and rulers, the mighty pillars and the broad steps. To the priests of Aaron and to the men of Levi, the ark and the great veil to hang before it. To the merchants, the men of great wealth, the eastern wall. And to the poor, the workmen, the needy, the beggars, the western wall. So have the lots fallen by the hand of God.
And now the work on the temple of the Lord began. The rich, the princes, the rulers of Israel emptied their money boxes. They took from the ears of their wives and daughters the earrings of pearl and gold. They sold their jewels and melted down the golden plates from their tables. And with this they sent far to the forest of Lebanon for fragrant cedar wood to line the great walls and floors. They purchased the dark olive wood for the lintels of the great doors, and the fine-grained cypress for the panels. And all this Aarn the cobbler watched, with his hammer still in his hand.
Beautiful. Never have I seen anything like this. Beautiful.
And the rich and the rulers of the land hired laborers from Tyre and Sidon, and they went among them and urged them to greater labor. So it was that the work of the princes and rulers and of the priests, the children of Aarn and the sons of Levi, was soon finished.
There is a temple worthy of the Lord. Praised be he that I, Aarn the cobbler, should see this sight. Finished. Well, almost finished.
But the work of the poor went slowly, for they had no pearls and gold to hire laborers, and they could not send to far countries for precious woods and metals. So the men, the women, and the children hewed stone in the great cave of Hezekiah and formed blocks of living rock. Slowly, inch by inch, they dragged them up the steep paths of the hill. Painfully, they raised the stones one upon the other, all heaving together on the ropes. And stone by stone, the western wall rose, till finally, by the toil of their hands, the wall stood finished. And all this Aarn the cobbler watched, with his hammer still in his hand.
Finished. To think that I should see the temple of God, and standing as it did. I could die happy. And why was I found worthy?
And now all the congregation of Israel was assembled on the hill of Jerusalem, before the house of the Lord. Then Solomon the wise prayed and made sacrifice, and a great mist covered the temple. And from out the mist spoke an angel of the Lord.
The house of the Lord stands perfect in its beauty. It is blessed. The divine presence will descend and rest upon it, but especially upon the western wall. For the western wall is built of the love and the labor of all the poor. And though the cedar, the cypress, and the gold is pleasing to the Lord, the toil of the needy is even more precious in his eyes, and his blessing shall be upon it. The holy presence shall never be removed from the western wall.
Then all the multitude sent up a tremendous hallelujah, and there was rejoicing on the hillside and throughout the city of Jerusalem. And Aarn the cobbler stood and watched, with his hammer still in his hand. Then, in the midst of the rejoicing, suddenly a voice cried out,
"There is the stone not placed. The western wall is not finished. The temple isn't perfect."
The crowd fell silent. The music was stilled. There, at the base of the western wall, was a stone, a small cornerstone, but it was out of place. The western wall was not finished. The congregation of Israel on the hillside turned slowly, and there by the unplaced stone, by the stone that was the blemish on the western wall, the imperfection that marred the temple of the Lord, stood Aarn the cobbler, with his hammer still in his hand.
The stone. The unplaced stone. I can finish it. I can finish it with my hammer. It is a small stone, just big enough for my hammer. There. I can finish the western wall. I can put the stone in place with my hammer. Aarn the cobbler can help build the house of the Lord.
Aarn! Reb Aarn.
What? The temple?
Reb Aarn, wake up!
Oh, Reb David.
You were hammering in your sleep, just sitting on the bench hammering.
Was I? It's morning?
Yes. I brought you back the blue-white box.
The box?
The Eretz Royal box, to redeem the Holy Land. I
was dreaming, David. I dreamt about... I can't remember.
Well, no wonder sleeping all night on that cobbler's bench. Now, if you'll allow me, Rev Aarn, I'll leave the blue white box on your mantel again.
The box, certainly.
It really isn't so important that you put money in, Rev Aarn. Of course, it would be better, but the big thing is to want to help to redeem the Holy Land.
So every soul in Israel shall say, "This is my place."
What's that, Rev Aarn?
I heard it somewhere. Rev David, let me ask a question. The western wall of the temple of Solomon the king. What happened to the western wall?
Why, Rev Aarn, you don't know? When the enemy destroyed the holy temple, may it be rebuilt in our day, an angel of the Lord spread his wings over the western wall and guarded it from harm. Why, it stands today, Rev Aarn, the Wailing Wall, the western wall of our temple.
The western wall stands. Rev David, you still fast?
Twice a week.
Next week you will have company.
I don't understand.
If I fast 2 days and sell the cabbage for maybe a penny, then my Eretz Yisrael box will rattle.
Reb Aarn.
But that isn't all. Reb David, take off your shoes.
What?
Take off your shoes. Go ahead. There, I thought so. Holes like a fishnet. Reb David, this collecting of yours...
It's a work of blessing, Reb Aarn.
But even on blessings, you wear out shoes, huh? Listen, Reb David, maybe I can squeeze out a penny for the blue-white box. Maybe not. But your shoes... Reb David, let this be an extra contribution. Here. New soles. Thick, good leather. And when you walk on your rounds collecting from the blue-white boxes to redeem the Holy Land, then Aarn the cobbler walks with you. The cobbler and the yeshiva student. What a combination. A job for Aarn's hammer. We'll redeem the Holy Land, Reb David. We'll build the Western Wall.
Roni v'simchi b'Sion ki hineni ho v'shochanti v'sochech neyum Hashem v'nilevu goyim rabim
Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for lo, I come, and I will dwell in the midst of them, saith the Lord. And many nations shall join themselves to the Lord in that day, and shall be my people, and I will dwell in the midst of thee. And thou shalt know that the Lord of hosts hath sent me unto thee.
If you would like a copy of today's script, please send your name and address with 10 cents to cover the cost of postage and handling to the Jewish Theological Seminary of America, 3080 Broadway, New York 27, New York. Our Eternal Light drama today, Aarn the Cobbler and the Western Wall, was written by Ernest Kinoy and was based on an idea suggested by the late William Z. Spiegelman. The music was composed by Morris Momorsky and conducted by Milton Cadens. Cantor Robert Siegel sang the liturgical introduction. Featured as Reb Aarn was Martin Wolfson, and the narrator was Norman Rose. The production was under the direction of Frank Papp. Free time to present the Eternal Light is made available by the National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations. This weekly program is presented under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
The Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel that they bring unto thee pure oil olive, beaten for the light, to cause the lamps to burn continually in the tabernacle of the congregation. And it shall be a statute forever in your generations.
The eternal light. The National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations make free time available to present The Eternal Light, a program which comes to you under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. Today's program, Incident at Sea, was written by Joseph Mindell.
This is the story of a strange trial in which the court had power but no jurisdiction, and whose judges were not impartial, yet sought justice. I saw it happen. My name is Johnson. I was in Germany attached to the American Army when we entered the concentration camps. I saw the men and women and the pitifully few children come out. They wandered homeless, unwanted in the countries of Europe. I saw them go back to the same straw-covered boards in the same windowless barracks, and now they were displaced persons. DPs, they were called, and their humanity was concealed by an alphabetical abstraction. I remained in Germany for 4 years, helping the displaced to find new places. 4 years is a long time. A few weeks ago, I was on a dock in Hamburg, waiting to board a ship for home. 350 displaced persons were also waiting. I walked among them, no longer asking questions and writing on official forms, but listening. Just listening.
Why are we waiting here?
Be patient. It takes a long time to load a ship.
They said we are going to America.
Yes, that's what they said.
It is so far.
Far? Far from where?
Are you traveling with someone?
No, I'm alone. And you?
Alone? Where are you from?
Sachsenhausen, cell block 68.
I was in 72. So close. It's a strange thing. Used to be a man was born with a family and lived with it all his life.
Today, there are no families. Only neighboring cell blocks.
Johnson, do you remember me? You're going home.
Yes?
You will forget how to speak your excellent German.
Then I remembered. It was 6 months ago in my office. He sat in the chair beside my desk, looking at me. Not really interested, but looking. As he said,
Ich spreche kein Englisch.
Well, speaking German, I understand it.
You speak very good German?
I've been here a long time. What is your name, please?
Benjamin Josephs.
Age?
24.
Where are you from?
Auschwitz.
I'm sorry, Josephs. I have to ask. And before Auschwitz?
I am a displaced person.
A person is displaced from somewhere. I must write it down.
Yes, just write down displaced.
All right, Joseph. Where do you want to go?
Do I have a choice?
Well, you'll have to wait your turn, but you may choose.
Then I want to go to America. Yes, I will go to America.
Oh, I remember you, Joseph. Tell me, what are you going to do in America?
Now we're on the docks, Johnson. Soon we will be on the ship, and the ship will sail. I do not think further than that. I have become unaccustomed to thinking of the future.
The displaced have come to expect little. To the homeless, the place where they happen to be now, this minute, is home. It may be cell block 68 or a ship on the Atlantic headed west. The displaced understand the sea. The horizon encloses an unchanging sameness with no future and no past, only the not quite real present in which no promises are made.
What difference does it make where I go?
It makes a difference, Josephs. At least you'll be out of Europe. What are you listening for?
The voice. I thought I heard a voice I knew. No, it's impossible. I must have imagined.
The past is finished. Stop listening.
The past is all there is.
That's not true, Joseph. You're young.
You are an American, Johnson. You would not understand. They put me in a concentration camp when I was... Did you hear it? Johnson, did you hear that voice?
Sit down, Joseph.
He's here on this ship.
Where are you going?
I'm going to find him.
Whom are you looking for? It's dark. You can't search a ship in the dark.
The man who spoke. I do not have to see. I know his voice.
Do not stop. Keep talking. I said keep talking.
What do you want? I heard a man's voice. I'm looking for him.
A real voice?
I'm not crazy.
What kind of a voice?
A rasping voice, as if the throat was sore, but it carries far. I used to hear it over the groans and the shrieks.
I heard such a voice. At Auschwitz.
Yes, at Auschwitz.
My name is Hans. I will look with you.
Which way did he go?
The man with the husky voice?
Which way?
He was a stranger, just passing. He spoke a few words and went on in the dark.
Come, Hans.
Well, this, stranger, is he a friend of yours?
You might say. I knew him years ago.
Hans? What does he mean?
Olga, the man who spoke to you, he was at Auschwitz.
But so... No, Hans, he's mistaken. Tell me Josephs is wrong.
I heard his voice, too.
But, Hans, this is an American ship. It cannot be. You understand that?
He is on this ship, Olga.
No, all that is finished. It cannot be, I tell you.
But if it is not finished...
We must find him.
Old man, we are looking for someone from Auschwitz.
76 from Auschwitz are on this ship.
A man tall with thick hair of a light brown color.
There's more than one like that.
You would not look at him twice, maybe, but if you heard his voice.
There is a man with a harsh voice, a voice that carries...
You know him?
His name is Hauser. What do you want with him?
Come. Where are they going?
Come. This is for us, too. Martha, go inside.
What is happening?
Don't ask questions now. Take the children and go inside.
Joseph, we must be sure.
I am sure, Hans.
There must be no mistake.
Hauser, we are waiting for you to speak.
What do you want with me?
Yes.
This is the man.
Joseph, his hair is black.
Hair can be dyed, but his voice is the same. He was in Auschwitz.
Yes, I was in Auschwitz, a prisoner with thousands of others.
You are a liar. You were an SS guard.
I have papers to prove what I say.
The SS had plenty of papers.
I do not have to prove anything. What are you, Gestapo?
You talk of Gestapo. Wait, Joseph.
What for, Hans?
I want to ask him a question. Hauser, do you remember Stefan in cell block 28?
Well,
what was his son's name?
this is a trap. If I answer, you will tell me there was no Stefan.
If you were a prisoner, you will know whether there was a Stefan. Answer the question, Hauser.
I refuse. It's my word against yours.
He is right. It is his word against yours. Then what are you waiting for?
Because we must be sure.
Hans, do you remember his whip?
I remember, Joseph.
And you remember when he made ready to use it, how he rolled his sleeve up high?
A tattoo.
Hauser, it is my word against yours. Roll up your sleeve.
No, you have no authority.
Look, Hans. The tattoo.
They took him to a stateroom. Joseph, Hans, and the woman Olga sat against one wall, and Hauser stood in the middle of the room. Around him, against the walls, crowded close, stood the others, silently, waiting. Their faces were empty now of anger and fear and hate, as if, having caught their persecutor, they had no more emotion to expend. For a long time, no one spoke. Then Hauser said,
What are you going to do with me?
Hauser, you are accused of terrible crimes.
I was a guard. I did my duty.
Then your duty was a crime?
There is no use talking like a judge. This is no court with power to do anything.
You are wrong, Hauser. In a way, this is a court. We are not lawyers. We do not know the exact forms, but this is a court. And you are on trial.
What are you going to do?
We are men like other men who want to be just. It is a simple desire. The difficult thing is to distinguish justice from injustice.
Hans, I am not interested in justice for Hauser.
You must be, Joseph's. Not for his sake, but for ours. That is why there must be a trial.
'19th, 1943, Hauser came into our barracks in the camp at Auschwitz. He ordered my father to go outside.
What is the use of all this? We know the story. It happened to all of us. Hauser knows it happened. Don't you, Hauser?
I did what I was told to do.
Hans, we're wasting time with this trial.
No, Olga. We have heard the evidence, and there is no question of his guilt. Hauser, do you have anything to say before we pronounce sentence upon you?
You have no power to do anything to me.
You do not understand. You really do not understand, Hauser. Here in this room, on a ship in the middle of the Atlantic, you are alone. Yet you do not talk of justice, nor even of mercy, but of power. And therefore, Hauser, you are lost.
Hauser stood before his accusers and his judges. The sentence was clear in their expressionless faces and in their eyes. I wanted to be silent, but I had to speak. And Josephs knew it, for he said,
Johnson, you keep out of this.
You can't take the law into your own hands, Josephs.
I ask you a question. Why not?
Because you don't have the right.
Johnson, how long were you in a concentration camp?
I know what you mean.
We have earned the right.
Nobody can earn the right to kill.
You saw it with your own eyes, Johnson. We held a trial. There were no black robes, no legal papers, but it was a trial. Hauser was judged and sentenced.
Joseph, a man who was in Sachsenhausen taught me this. Al todin es havercho ad shetagia limkoma.
Where I was until recently, they did not teach Hebrew.
Do not judge your fellow man until you've lived his life as he lived it.
You do not understand. We are talking about Hauser.
And about you.
What do you want us to do with him?
Turn him over to the authorities.
So they can let him go again.
That was in Germany.
Is America so different? This is an American ship, and Hauser is on it.
Josephs, according to the law, men like Hauser are not permitted to enter. If he came so far, it was not because of the law, but in spite of it. Doesn't that make a difference?
Maybe. But what if they let him go?
Even if he escapes, turn him over.
Johnson, this is not your affair. Stay out of it.
Hauser's crimes were against humanity, Josephs, against me as well as you.
He was tried and judged. Now the sentence must be executed. Mikhail will need a rope.
I know where there is a rope, Josephs.
Make sure it's long enough and strong.
Josephs, do you know what you're doing?
Yes, Hans, I have thought about it. Not with a knife, not with my hands, because I'm not a murderer.
No?
No, I am an executioner, and he will hang from a noose because he is a murderer.
Here is the rope, Josephs.
Good, Mikhail. Tie him up and gag him, and use the rest of the rope to make a knot. A hangman's knot.
Stop it, Josephs. We are not torturers or murderers. We are not taking vengeance.
Then what are we doing?
We do not... I do not want payment from him for what he did. The past is dead and the scars will remain. We judged him and found him guilty and sentenced him. We are carrying out a just sentence.
All right, Hans, have it your way. You want justice, I want vengeance. The result is the same.
Yes. The result is the same.
Is the noose ready, Mikhail?
Yeah.
Then bring Hauser. Hauser, you cannot talk, but you can see and you can listen. Look at us, your judges.
And your victims, Hauser.
Look at me, a Jew from Lithuania, and Mikhail over there, who never saw a Jew until he came to Warsaw. And Olga, who is not Jewish, and her husband...
You did not ask my husband if he was Jewish before you shot him, Hauser.
And Stefan, who... Hans, what are you doing?
It is wrong, Josephs. It is all wrong.
Take your hands away from the rope.
You cannot do it. I will not let you.
It's too late to change your mind, Hans. We have decided what we have to do.
I will not let you. I will go to the captain.
Hold him. Quick, do not let him go.
How are you different from the Nazis, Josephs?
Hold him until we're finished.
You cannot kill him, Josephs. That is murder.
There was a trial, Hans. You were a judge. There was a verdict, and it was a just verdict.
There is no justice when the victim, the judge, and the executioner are the same.
Call it vengeance. Hauser is going to die.
I will not let you do it.
You cannot stop.
I will call. They will hear me outside.
Hans, I warn you, do not...
I will.
Hans.
Kill me too, Joseph.
Hans, are you all right?
Murderers are not usually so concerned about their victims. for their potential victims. You will have to kill me, you know.
No.
Yes, Josephs. If you let me out, I will go to the captain. I must.
This is our business. It concerns no one else.
And Johnson, you will have to silence him, too.
You do not know what you're talking about.
What you did is what Hauser would have done.
What did you want us to do? Forgive him? Let him go?
Of course not, Josephs. I cannot forgive him, and I do not expect anyone to forgive him. But there is a difference between not forgiving and what you did.
Hans, we have done nothing yet.
You did not kill him?
No.
We are not murderers, Joseph.
But we cannot let him go.
What's going on in there? Passengers are complaining. Open the door. Captain's orders.
Johnson, you did not give us away.
No, Joseph.
And you, Hans?
No.
Why? Will you tell me why?
Because I do not want Hauser to be rescued by the ship's officers.
I do not understand you, Hans.
I want you, all of us, to let him go.
I do not understand that either.
I'll say it again in my own way. I do not want vengeance. I want justice.
Hans, what do you want us to do?
Turn him over to the captain.
He killed my father.
And Olga's husband and Mikhail's son.
And you say to let him go?
Turn him over to the captain.
Do you know what you're asking?
I was in Auschwitz, too.
And still you want him to go unpunished?
No.
That is what it means if we turn him over?
Maybe.
Hans, you know him. You know the evil that is in him.
Joseph, a man is not good or evil by some inner quality. He is good or he is evil by what he does.
Then surely Hauser is evil.
I am not thinking of Hauser.
Of whom, then?
Of us. If our actions are evil, then how are we different from evil men?
We know what we want, Hans. Why must every emotion be confused with doubts?
Maybe because we are human beings and have to choose. And choice means doubt.
What do you want?
A simple thing. Open the door. Just open the door.
Hauser came through the open door, his hands still tied. Then came Hans and Joseph's and Olga. And Joseph's took a knife from his pocket and cut the rope from Hauser's wrists. They turned and walked slowly between two lines of silent watchers who saw and understood. They walked to the captain's deck and stopped.
Captain, we have brought a prisoner to justice.
Hauser was taken away, and they watched until he was out of sight. Then they walked slowly back, the homeless returning home. And I remembered Hans's words.
We are men like all men, and we want to be just. It is a simple desire. The difficult thing is to distinguish justice from injustice, to know what is evil from what is good.
If you would like a copy of today's script, Please send your name and address with 10 cents to cover the cost of postage and handling to the Jewish Theological Seminary of America, 3080 Broadway, New York 27, New York. And now we present a talk by Rabbi William P. Greenfeld, Rabbi of Temple Beth El Tzedek, Indianapolis, Indiana. Rabbi Greenfeld.
The trial of Hauser has begun. A court of law, in the tradition of all that is decent in American life, will decide his fate. But even as Hauser is on trial, so too are we, not only for the sins of omission of the past, when we might have averted many of the evils decreed upon a helpless segment of humanity, but even unto this day. Have we as Americans abided by the noblest sentiments of our country in permitting the weak and the persecuted, the scarred and the broken, to find their haven of refuge within our land if they so desired? Our America was different from other places in this world. Our arms were outstretched at all times to receive the suffering innocents. Men of goodwill of all faiths were thrilled at the sight of the Statue of Liberty and were received by our people with warmth and understanding. We are on trial facing another charge, a charge that cannot be lightly shunted aside. To what extent have we, through negligence, made it possible for former stormtroopers to enter our beloved country, to continue to spread those evil germs that resulted in the final destruction of a bigoted and hateful Germany? Have we secured ourselves against the possibility of the repetition of the incident on the high seas? Or are there thousands entering these shores to continue their immoral and criminal practices in our midst? We are certain that Hauser will receive a fair trial. We must feel equally assured that our gates remain open for the innocent victims of all lands, of all faiths, and of all peoples. We must remain equally certain that we do not permit the insidious penetration among us of those ideas which we so valiantly combated on the field of battle. This will be our answer to Johnson and to Olga, to Hans and to Josephs.
Thank you, Rabbi Greenfeld. Eternal Light drama today, Incident at Sea, was written by Joseph Mindell. The music was composed by Morris Mamorsky and conducted by Milton Katims. Cantor Robert Siegel sang the liturgical introduction. Featured as Josephs was Joseph Wiseman, Donald Buca as Hans, and Alexander Scurvy was the narrator. The production was under the direction of Frank Papp. Free time to present the Eternal Light is made available by the National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations. This weekly program is presented under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
Israel,
saying, Command the children of Israel that they bring unto thee pure oil olive, beaten for the light, to cause the lamps to burn continually in the tabernacle of the congregation, and it shall be a statute forever in your generations.
The eternal light. The National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations make free time available to present The Eternal Light, a program which comes to you under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. Today's program, The Sealed Tunnel, was written by Irv Tunick.
They built this tunnel not out of fear, but out of memories. It was hidden beneath the altar, a darkness, a way of escape. For freedom was new to them, and not yet to be trusted. I had come to Newport for a rest. Overworked, overtired, I was completely run down. During a week, the days were pleasant. I'd spend the day lolling on a beach, and then, about 5 p.m, I'd gather up my energy and get back to my room to relax. After a time, I grew wise in the way of vacationers. I learned how to reverse the tide. On weekdays, the beach was mine, that fine beige-white beach of Newport. But on the weekend, I'd leave the beach, leave it to the sun-hungry weekenders, and go into town.
Any special place I can drop you, Mr. Baxter?
No. Any place at all. Awful lot of traffic this morning.
Uh-huh. How about here?
Fine.
Want I should pick you up later?
No, never mind, Joe. I'll take the bus.
Okay.
There was excitement in Newport, something I hadn't expected. The Sundays before had been filled with that windless type of silence that settles like a mist on New England towns on summer Sundays. But this Sunday was different. Crowds of people were on the streets. Big limousines nuzzled one another as traffic crawled along, and all were headed in one direction. I moved along with the flood. I noticed the name of the street we were on, Touro Street. Queer name for a New England town. Should have been Oak Street or Lowell Street or Main or Adams. But this was Touro Street, and it was crowded this Sunday morning. A man, he took fast, choppy steps as though we were walking tiptoe, ranged up beside me. His long black coat and round black hat must have made fine contrast to the colorful patterns of the sport coat I was wearing. And when I stopped for a moment, he stopped too.
The synagogue's this way, just down the street.
The synagogue?
Yes. You're going there, aren't you?
To the synagogue?
It's down the street. You can see it from here. Isn't it wonderful? Makes you burn inside. Feel funny, you know.
Yes, but
My bus was late. We had a flat when we were still in Providence. It's very warm.
Yes.
All these people, all these cars. It's a good thing. A fine thing. All these people, Jews, non-Jews, all going to the synagogue.
They are?
What then? Today they are making a national monument of Touro Synagogue. That's wonderful. A national monument, like grants, too. Everybody's going to be there. Senators, governors. We'll be late, though. We better hurry. You come along with me.
I went with him. I judged his age to be about 50. It might have been 5 years on either side. And his hair was like fine steel wool, and the wrinkles around his eyes gave witness of long hours over tiny print. We came to the synagogue, and I could see at once that it would be impossible to get inside.
A crowd overflowed the entrance and packed the lawn in front.
Bad luck. But there's a window. Come, look inside.
I had never seen the inside of a synagogue before, and I hardly knew what to expect. The room was no larger than that of the little church in which I worship, but its beauty and dignity made it seem spacious. The woodwork was painted a clean, brilliant white. Along the walls, graceful Ionic columns held up a gallery now filled with visitors. There were no rows of benches, as you might expect, but along the walls and on both sides of a reading stand set in the center were red-covered seats for the congregation. Set in the east wall was a magnificent Georgian cupboard containing scrolls. I recognized it at once for what it obviously was, a perfect gem of colonial architecture. The stranger tugged at my sleeve and drew me along a little lane.
There's a bench here. We can sit down. My feet hurt.
I sat down beside him, welcoming the shade of an oak tree.
This tree is so old, Reverend Isaac himself might have planted it.
Reverend Isaac?
Reverend Isaac Turo.
Turo? Turo? Well, that's the name of the street we walked up, Turo Street.
He was the first rabbi of this synagogue.
How long ago?
Almost 200 years. He came to Newport in 1759. That was 100 years after the first Jews came.
1659?
Even before, 1654, only 35 years after the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth. As far back as that, people were searching for new lands to forget old hates.
We talked on, the two of us, this man in his shiny black coat and I in my sports getup. We spoke of Isaac Turo, and I learned to pronounce his Hebrew title.
Hazan.
Hazan?
No. Hazan. Ha. Ha.
Hazan.
No, look. You must first take the sound and roll it up like a little ball, and then flip it out like this. Ha. Ha. Hazan.
Hazan.
Good, fine. But a little more nearer your appendix. Hazan.
Hazan.
Marvelous. Just right.
And so we talked together. Under the shade of the old oak, beside the old synagogue, we talked. And he told me of the tunnel. I had seen the speaker's stand when I looked through the window, a dais of hand-carved oak wrought from native timber and painted a glistening white. There's a tunnel dug under this platform, and a story to be told about the tunnel. He told it to me. He told it in a quiet voice that sometimes gushed with pride, and then, like the sliding pattern of an organ, took on solemn overtones of deep reverence. He spoke names that conjured up unexpected pictures. Mordecai Campanal, Moses Pacheco, Aaron Lopez, Abraham Rodriguez Rivera. Strange mixtures of Canaan and Castile. He spoke of Isaac Turo. It was 1759, 18 years before the Revolution, and Isaac Turo gathered the Jewish people of Newport around him one afternoon.
This is a time of looking ahead. 100 years have passed since our people first came to Newport. We've grown marvelously and prospered. But I recall the wisdom of Rabbi Simeon ben Yochai. He has said, "If you see cities in the land of Israel that are destroyed to their foundations, know that it is because they did not provide for teachers of the Bible and of tradition, as was declared by the prophet Jeremiah, because they abandoned my law." Because of this, and to instruct our children properly in the paths of virtuous religion, we must have a synagogue. It must be built at once. I know this has been on your mind, as it has been on mine. Now it must be done.
Rabbi, we all of us have nothing that is dearer in our hearts, but is this the time? Can we do it?
We must do it, Aaron Lopez. If among our own we cannot find enough to finance the building, then we must go elsewhere for help. And we will get it. We will go to every Jewish community in America, even in Europe, to solicit aid. Why not? Is it not true that a synagogue sanctifies not only the ground it stands upon, but the spirit of all those who have erected its walls? The time is now, this day. Let us not worry over details, but let us proceed with the building.
The appeal of the Jews of Newport was answered handsomely. From New York especially, from the congregation Shearith Israel, contributions poured in. Peter Harrison, genius of colonial architecture, was engaged to design the building. He did a masterful job. Isaac Turo, together with his intimate friend, the Reverend Ezra Stiles, minister of the Second Congregational Church of Newport, would sit for hours under a tree. Perhaps the very tree that shaded me as my friend told me this story. They would sit and watch the workers. One day in 1762, I don't recall the exact date, but it isn't very important. One day the two sat together watching the carpenters carving the Ionic pillars for the balcony, when a highly perturbed, white, and trembling Peter Harrison entered the scene.
Mr. Turo, what? Will you kindly tell me exactly what is going on?
Good morning, Peter. You know Dr. Stiles?
Yes, of course. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Peter.
What is going on, sir?
Sit down. You look like a thundercloud ready to burst.
Well, I feel worse. Why are those men ripping up the flooring under the speaker's stand? Are they crazy? We had to send all the way to Vermont to get that timber.
I ordered them to do so. A tunnel is being dug under the speaker's stand.
A tunnel? What for?
For good and sufficient reasons. Is that answer enough, Peter?
No, it isn't half enough.
I'm sorry.
I think, sir, that I'm entitled to an explanation. Why have the designs been altered? No such tunnel appeared in my plans.
Peter, you know why tunnels are usually built?
Storage. Or
what?
Well, that's ridiculous.
Or as an avenue of escape. Is that what you were going to say?
Yes, but...
That is your answer. An avenue of escape.
I don't want to intrude my advice, Isaac, but really now, a tunnel for escape here in Newport is preposterous.
Is it?
This isn't the old world, Isaac, this colony, Rhode Island. It's the very shrine of religious liberty. Roger Williams.
Ah, yes, Roger Williams. He made it very clear. In Rhode Island, he said, all men may walk as their conscience persuades them, everyone in the name of God. Sweet, sweet words.
Well?
Well, time has a way of rusting words and eroding their meaning.
Now, really, Mr. Turo...
You think I'm doing an unwise, an unnecessary thing.
I do.
And I must agree.
My friends, do you have a little time to spare?
For what?
Come to the courthouse with me, right now.
Of course. But why?
You know Aaron Lopez and Isaac Eliezer?
Yes.
Good men?
Excellent. Both are highly prosperous and respected merchants.
Aaron Lopez and Isaac Eliezer have applied for citizenship in this colony. Their petition comes before the Superior Court today. I should like you both to accompany me and hear this decision. Will you?
Why, of course. I should like to congratulate them both.
So should I. Well, suppose we go and help celebrate this great event.
Case, bailiff.
Petition of Aaron Lopez and Isaac Eliezer for citizenship in this colony. Petitioners arise and approach the bench.
Aaron Lopez?
I am Aaron Lopez, Your Honor.
Isaac Eliezer?
I am Isaac Eliezer, Your Honor.
Yes. The petition of Aaron Lopez and Isaac Eliezer, persons professing the Jewish religion, praying that they may be naturalized on Act of Parliament. Having been duly considered, this court are unanimously of the opinion that the said Act of Parliament was wisely designed for increasing the number of the inhabitants in the plantations. But this colony being already so full of people, the writ of the petitioners cannot come within the intention of said Act. This court therefore unanimously dismisses the petition. Citizenship not granted. Court dismissed. I can't understand it. It seems absolutely incredible. I'm shamed.
Ashamed for all of us.
It's wrong. I admit it's wrong, Mr. Turo. It's a terrible thing to happen. But I can't see the reason for the tunnel even now. This decision doesn't mean that the people are going to start trouble. As a matter of fact, I'm sure almost every citizen is dead against it.
Yes, there I agree with you.
Then why build the tunnel? There's no good reason.
There is every good reason for that tunnel, Peter. Now it must be dug. It has to be dug.
Dr.
It
Stiles.
must be dug. And every man in this colony must know that it is there. That tunnel must become a symbol to all of us. Terrible emblem of where bigotry and narrowness could lead. As long as it remains, it will shout to everyone. As long as even a few among us are like that judge, no one is safe. I feel as if I should like to burrow in it myself and hide. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed for all of us.
At this point, my friend went on with his story. The Truro Synagogue was finished and dedicated in 1763. Prosperous years followed. Great men of all faiths came to sit in the red-covered chairs and to hear the ceremonies. But the tunnel was there, still dug deep into the ground and still cut into the hearts of all freedom-loving men. It hurt, but it was there. Tumult and thunder roared suddenly on this scene. It was 1775, and in Boston, at Lexington, from Concord to Savannah, the colonies were suddenly awake. The Jews of Newport gathered in their synagogue.
You must follow your own feelings in this matter and do as you judge best. If you stay, if you remain, when the troops of the king arrive, I know you will not be molested. But safety is sometimes a dangerous luxury. Follow your conscience.
Will you come with us, Rabbi?
No. I shall stay here. The synagogue is where I belong. Where will you go?
To Massachusetts. Some of us, anyway.
I do not see Moses Isaacs.
He's joined the Continental Army. So have Abraham Isaacs and Solomon Rofes and many others.
I will pray for them. Well, we disperse again. Shall we meet again?
We will come back, Rabbi.
You must come back. For this place, this synagogue is your home. Now let us bow our heads while we repeat the threefold benediction of Aaron, the high priest of Israel. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord cause the light of his countenance to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance unto you and grant you peace. Amen.
Amen.
The war years were bitter for Newport. Its commerce declined, its buildings fell into disrepair, all except the synagogue. In the dimmest hour, its paint shone white as a snowbank. Its altar never felt the touch of dust. And then it was over. The revolution was over, and the Jews came back to their synagogue. Their beloved rabbi had gone to God, but their place of worship still stood. The tunnel was still there. Now, as never before, the days were thick with uncertainty and foreboding. Restrictive laws were passed, some aimed at neighboring states, some at races and religions. These were symptoms of a disease well known to the Jews. And so they gathered in their synagogue and waited, and the hinges on the trapdoor leading to the tunnel were kept well oiled. Out of this turmoil came hope, however. The Constitution, with its guarantees in the Bill of Rights, became the law of the land. But even here, was this enough? A law is as strong as the men who administer it, and as honest. And the man in 1783 who would administer this law was a quiet and austere man, difficult to approach, unchallenged in his patriotism, yet still an enigma. His name was Washington. In 1781, he had visited at the home of a member of the Hebrew congregation of Newport, and that was good. In 1790, Washington returned to Newport. This time, Moses Seixas called on him, welcomed him in the name of the Hebrew congregation. Washington smiled, shook hands, gracefully accepted the written address that came from the hands and the hearts of these loyal citizens. And that was good, too. When Washington left, he wrote a letter of thanks. Now, outside the Truro synagogue, I listened as my friend read the words of Washington from a folded paper he'd taken from his pocket.
To the Hebrew congregation in Newport, Rhode Island, I shall always retain a grateful remembrance of the cordial welcome I experienced in my visit to Newport from all classes of citizens. The citizens of the United States of America all possess alike liberty of conscience and immunities of citizenship. Happily, the government of the United States, which gives to bigotry no sanction, to persecution no assistance, requires only that they who live under its protection should demean themselves as good citizens, in giving it on all occasions their effectual support. May the children of the stock of Abraham who dwell in this land continue to merit and enjoy the goodwill of the other inhabitants, while everyone shall sit in safety under his own vine and fig tree, and there shall be none to make him afraid. May the Father of all mercies scatter light and not darkness in our paths, and make us all in our several vocations useful here, and in his own due time and way, everlastingly happy. Signed, George Washington.
Moses Seixas had read this letter to the Hebrew congregation of Newport. He'd read it standing on a trap door that covered the entrance to a tunnel. This, he knew, was enough. And so that night, late that night, a night not even recorded in the documents of Truro Synagogue, he gathered a few members of the congregation.
I have finished mixing the mortar, Moses.
Do we have enough bricks?
More than enough.
All right. Brick up the entrance.
And so that night, the tunnel was sealed. There was no need for escape. I said goodbye to my friend. He was a stranger no longer. His name was Nathan, and I promised to visit with him someday. Perhaps I will. Back at my hotel that evening, I found quiet again. I sat on the porch, watched the water, watched the way the waves tore the moonlight to shreds. And I thought, they've made the Truro Synagogue a national historical site, a national shrine. That's good. But it isn't enough. They've exhibited Washington's letter to the Newport congregation on the Freedom train. Now, that's good. But that, too, is not enough. What is enough? The tunnel that is sealed. The fact that it remains sealed. That is the thing. For bricks that are put up are bricks that can be torn down. And if a time will come when the bricks must be torn down, then who among us shall need escape? It may be you, or me, or my son, or yours. For my son and yours, this tunnel must stay sealed.
would like a copy of today's script, please send your name and address with 10 cents to cover the cost of postage and handling to the Jewish Theological Seminary of America, 3080 Broadway, New York 27, New York. And now we present a talk by Mr. Maurice Levin, prominent civic leader. Mr. Levin.
This year is the 173rd anniversary of American independence. Throughout our land, there will be laughter and merrymaking. Skies will be bright with fireworks, streets alive with sound. Every human being, each in his own way, will pause to pay tribute to freedom. The Jews of this free and happy land, too, bring a rose to the altar of liberty, a rose nourished by the dreams of its prophets and glorified by the eternal hopes of its people. The rose of the Jew is two-rose tunnel, placed with reverence on freedom's shrine. Graciously will freedom accept this gift, for two-rose tunnel is a walled-up, sealed tunnel, a living symbol of the glory and the power of freedom's message. Through the lips of a great American, George Washington, freedom spoke to the Jewish colonists who had brought their old fears with them to the new land. Washington said, "The government of the United States gives to bigotry no sanction, to persecution no assistance." And as it always does, freedom's voice released man's heart from fear and hate and prejudice and gave him courage to forge ahead. When man emerged from his cave and began to walk erect in the sun, he left his first tunnel of fears behind him. Since then, through genius, toil, sweat, and the ability to work with his fellows, man has conquered earth and sea and air. Every struggle was a step away from a sealed-in existence toward universal brotherhood, freedom, and peace. Civilization itself is the result of man's victories in walling off countless tunnels, separating man from his brother, nation from nation. Man has done much to bridge barriers, but there is still much to be done. False prophets foster fear and suspicion in the human heart. If another man's skin is not like yours, hate it. If another man's ways are different from yours, crush him, they say. Deny your neighbor the right to worship God as he pleases. Deny him the right to live and work and rear his children in dignity and peace. This is the creed of evildoers who would bury man's happiness and man himself in underground tunnels of hate. On this 173rd anniversary of our independence, man has learned that liberty serves all or none. Tunnels no longer can protect man from bigotry, for it is one world, and there is no hiding place anywhere. Today, men work together and hope for the last tunnels to crumble, so all men everywhere may enjoy what America first proclaimed, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Thank you, Mr. Levin. Our Eternal Light drama today, The Sealed Tunnel, was written by Irv Punick and was presented in celebration of Independence Day. The music was composed by Morris Momorsky and conducted by Milton Cadams. Cantor Robert Siegel sang the liturgical introduction. Featured as Turo was Edgar Staley, and Arnold Moss was the narrator. The production was under the direction of Frank Papp. Beginning next Sunday, the Eternal Light will present a special summer series entitled The Words We Live By. We invite you to listen. Free time to present the Eternal Light is made available by the National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations. This weekly program is presented under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel that they bring unto thee pure oil olive, beaten for the light, to cause the lamps to burn continually in the tabernacle of the congregation, and it shall be a statute forever in your generation.
The Eternal Light. The National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations make free time available to present The Eternal Light, a program which comes to you under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. Today's program, The Fourth Confession, was written by Morton Wishengrad and features Alexander Scorby as narrator in a special presentation for this month of High Holy Days.
On the Day of Atonement, the reader and two members of the congregation stand in the synagogue before the Ark of the Covenant.
With divine sanction, and with the sanction of this holy congregation, we declare it lawful to pray together with those who have transgressed.
I have broken my word unto the Lord, and I have profaned my soul. Yet this day of my atonement, efface my transgression, God of Israel. Release me from guilt, and make clean my conscience. Once in ancient days, when the temple stood in Jerusalem, the high priest entered the Holy of Holies and made an atonement.
I have sinned. I have done iniquity. I and my household.
And the second time the high priest made confession.
We have sinned. We, the priests of God, have done iniquity.
And a third time.
O God, all the children of Israel have sinned.
Lord of the universe, it is time for the fourth confession, which is mine. I have sinned. I and my household have done iniquity. And the people of the state in which I live and the people of my country, we have sinned. On this day we may not speak of things done well, of the poor whom we have raised up, of the fatherless whom we have sheltered, of the naked and the sick whom we have clothed and healed. On this day we may speak only of things not done, and only of things badly done, and only of things that must be undone. For this is the Day of Atonement, and we must stand and declare, Al chet shechotonu. For the transgressions we have committed, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement. Pronounce thy blessing over us, and say, ye shall be clean. There is a transgression which issues from the genteel necessities of cowardice. This is the sin of weak decency. It prefers silence to speech. It practices heroism before the mirror in the closet, while in the presence of injustice, it is a cipher, trembling and mute. In this time of atonement, I freely confess this sin of cowardice. Therefore, on this day,
Asking forgiveness for myself, I will ask praise for those who were neither mute nor afraid. I will ask praise for the President's Commission on Higher Education, which had the manliness to be rude.
Why does your university ask the applicant's religion?
It's a matter of form.
Isn't it so that you can exclude an applicant if he's a Jew?
I wouldn't say so, no.
I would say so, yes.
Why do you ask the place of birth of the applicant's father?
These things are necessary for our record.
Your scholastic record?
Well, no.
Why do you ask the applicant to state his mother's maiden name?
I believe, I understand.
Will his answer determine his ability in mathematics or languages, or will it tell you whether or not the applicant is a Jew?
Well, we are extremely anxious to ascertain the racial, national, and religious origins of our students.
Why?
For statistical purposes.
The commission smiled. It was no ordinary commission. It was a board of inquiry with the full weight of the President of the United States. It spoke.
This commission therefore recommends the removal from application forms of all questions pertaining to religion, color, and national or racial origin.
Praise and exalt the commission, for they were faithful to thy name. Yet in this season of Yom Kippur, it is good to remember that God commands, whereas a commission may only recommend. And between God's commandment and a commission's recommendation, there is a vast space of indifference and rebellion and forgetfulness. Still, you and I must remember, for each man alive is responsible for the sins of the society in which he lives. And each man must rise now and ask forgiveness.
For
the sin we have committed before thee of wronging our neighbor, we ask forgiveness.
15 million Americans live in houses without minimum standards of decency.
Sure, we don't have a bathtub. A couple of times a month I go to the Y.
For this sin against them, we ask forgiveness.
Quick, ma'am. While I boil up my surgical instruments, you spread some clean newspapers on the kitchen table. I'll operate on the boy right here.
An emergency? There are many emergencies.
40% of the counties of America have no hospitals.
In 60% of American counties where there are hospitals, there is another kind of emergency.
Doctor, did the biopsy report come back yet?
Yes, Mrs. Smith, it came back. Why don't you sit down?
Thank you.
Mrs. Smith, there's nothing conclusive about a single examination. My experience has been that in cases like yours, it's always wise...
It's cancer.
But, Mrs. Smith...
I know, Doctor. I think I knew from the beginning. It's cancer.
If you'd only been examined a few years ago, even 1 year ago, if...
325,000 Americans die each year whom we have the knowledge and the skill to save.
For them, too, say Al-Khet Shechotonu. Say it 325,000 times. And say the Al-Khet for 8 million Americans who suffer from some form of mental illness, not the least of which is a belief in the compassion of their neighbors.
I don't want to talk to you. I'm sick, you hear? I don't want to talk to no orderly. I want the doc. Tell the doc I got to see him.
The patient will have to wait. This mental institution, not far from where I stand, has one doctor for every 160 mental patients. And compared to other institutions, that's not bad. Al-Khet Shechotonu. Because we are responsible for the fact that there are no beds for them, and that facilities to treat them are inadequate, and that doctors to heal them are insufficient.
Our mental hospitals today need 15,000 more psychiatrists.
Our mental hospitals today need 47,000 additional psychiatric nurses.
Our mental hospitals today need an additional 10,000 psychiatric caseworkers.
Gentlemen, let's not be carried away. Now, let's not be carried away. Consider the cost. It's staggering already. $500 million to maintain clinics and hospitals for the mentally sick.
Sir, may I ask a question?
Well, the Appropriations Committee always welcomes the questions of the gentlemen of the press. What is your question, sir?
How much has your committee appropriated for psychiatric research?
The sum of $400,000.
And how much, may I ask, was appropriated for the control of plant disease and animal disease?
$30 million.
Millions for soil erosion, thousands for the erosion of souls. It serves no end to search for villains. There are none. The sin is with none of us, and with all of us. But atonement must be made. And this is the season when the rabbi faces the congregation and utters a Talmudic prescription.
Averus sheben odom lamakom, Yom HaKippurim machaper.
For transgressions against God, Yom Kippur can atone.
Averus sheben odom lachavero, in Yom HaKippurim machaper, ad sheyiratzeh es chavero.
But for transgressions of man against man, Yom Kippur cannot atone, unless a man go to his neighbor and make amends.
Therefore I, too, will go to my neighbor, for I have wronged him. I will make confession and ask forgiveness. Because they are the most grievously injured in our society, I confess first that I have sinned against the Negroes of America. For I have seen injustice against them, and I did not cry out. I was present in Congress when an elected representative spoke, and while he did not speak harshly, intending only good, nevertheless he must be answered, for he said,
Southern courts, from which Negroes get more than justice, have an understanding of the Negro which is absent in other sections of the country. We love our Negroes.
Congressman?
Are you addressing me?
I am, Congressman.
For what purpose does the gentleman rise to speak?
I want to talk about love.
I beg your pardon?
I want to talk about love.
Well, a Negro shouldn't joke about it. Not you.
Well, I'm not joking. It was you who mentioned love. I thank you, but if it's all the same to you, I should like a little less love and a few more votes.
I want a bill of particulars. Please specify.
I'll be glad to. 3 specifications, Congressman.
In 7 poll tax states, only 23% of eligible voters cast their ballots.
During the war, the U.S. Navy commissioned 8,000 officers. Negroes commissioned only 2.
According to the President's report on civil rights, the total number of Negro officers in the wartime Marine Corps was exactly 0.
Congressman, there are more specifications. Would you care to hear them?
Well, I'm not unsympathetic. I know the things you say are true, but don't push. Give us time. We're making progress gradually.
Well, gradually is too slow.
I know how you feel. Believe me. But you've got to take the long view.
The trouble is that in my house it's only a short view to where my little girl is sitting. She's 3 years old. And when my wife talks about white people, she doesn't want our little girl to know, so she spells it out. W-H-I-T-E.
Well, what can I do about that?
I don't know. But in another 3 years, my little girl is going to know how to spell. What shall I tell her then? Tell me that.
Well, there's no good in being bitter. No good at all. Oh, wait. Let things work out by themselves. You can't legislate brotherhood.
Who says so? Why, some states have done a pretty good job of legislating no brotherhood. I offer Article 1272 of the Criminal Code of my own state.
Article 1272. It is unlawful for any concern engaged in cotton textile manufacture to employ Negroes and whites to work in the same room, or to use the same doors or stairways or windows or toilets or drinking water fountains.
Congressman?
I'm sorry.
Oh, don't be sorry for anything that can be mended. If you can legislate to build up a wall, you can legislate to tear a wall down.
It is too easy to make the South the scapegoat for all that is wrong or backward or sanctimonious in the United States. Much too easy and much too simple. Because the same Negro sometimes migrates north. And since he requires a place to live, he makes a telephone call.
Miss Smith, housing.
I'd like to make an application in your housing project.
Well, when would you like to call?
I'm calling now.
Oh, our interviews must be conducted in person.
Oh, sure. I understand. I'll answer all of your questions at once. I'm a Negro.
I'm terribly sorry. Please believe me, I'm only an employee. If it were up to me, what I mean is...
I know, Miss Smith. You mean that there's nothing personal.
Very kind of you to say that.
People should be kind to one another, shouldn't they?
Not North against the South. Not good Negroes against bad whites. People in trouble. For these sins against our own humanity, forgive us. And forgive us also for the sin of making simple things complex. Because a civil right is a plain thing. It's neither the itch to do good, nor the warm bath of self-approving righteousness, nor the condescensions of organized tolerance. A civil right is not conspicuous charity toward those whom we've privately slandered or ignored or wronged. A civil right is not a noble sentiment to be expressed by the learned in a Latin phrase. It's a homely thing. It doesn't talk fancy. Either it works or it dies of atrophy. A civil right is not a question of mercy. It's a matter of justice. And the issue is justice. The issue is America's own displaced persons.
1 out of every 10 Americans who are tired of being a problem.
1 out of every 10 citizens who are tired of being understood.
1 out of every 10 fathers and mothers in America who simply want a little security and a little peace of mind and the blessedness of being considered people and not a cause.
It is a day of solemn fasting. And in the synagogue, the young men and the old men rise to recite a prayer and a blessing.
Shechionu v'kimonu v'idionu lazman hazeh.
Blessed art thou who hast preserved us and kept us alive until this season.
His season is old age, and the blessing for him is an irony, for he fasts in his old age. He fasts continuously.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes?
Excuse me for mentioning it, but don't you like my shop?
Oh, I like it very much.
Well, then why don't you show it? I sell meat, groceries, vegetables. All you buy is bread and oatmeal.
Forgive me. I'll take some potatoes.
That's better. How many pounds?
1 pound, if you please. I'm not hungry today.
This is a lie for which he asks forgiveness on the Day of his Atonement. He is hungry each day. He and his wife. They're hungry in their old age.
We live on our Social Security check.
They're an elderly couple, pensioners of the United States of America.
I'm grateful. $39.90 a month.
For the 2 of them. Old man, how much do you pay for rent?
$20 a month. And it's a good room. My wife and I are very lucky.
How much do you spend for medicine?
Oh, $1 a month. Another $1 a month for doctors. That makes $2. We spend $1.50 a week for incidentals like clothing, utilities, telephone calls, and transportation, and the rest is for food.
$11.90 a month for food for 2 people.
Mr. Alexander, don't you ever buy anything here except bread and oatmeal?
Thank you for reminding me. I'll take 2 tea bags.
Often, in the better parts of town, you see them slip furtively into the crowded supermarkets. The city nurses retired on their minute pensions, the retired librarians, the loyal civil servants of city and state.
4 loaves of bread, Miss Wilson, is that all?
That is all. 4 loaves of stale bread, a penny less on the loaf. And stale bread is good enough for the ghostly army, the pale army of the aged.
The cost of living is up 75% since 1939.
But our aged, our pensioned, our retired must subsist on a 1939 allowance.
All the arts of medicine and the advantages of science to keep them alive so that they may be hungry in their old age. Whom do you wish to blame? I blame no one. Before a man can say one must, first he must say I must. Only then does he have the right to say you must and he must. O Lord our God, pardon the arrogance of the defeated and the alienated who willfully persist in singing thy praise. Pardon the aged and them who abandon the aged. Pardon the awful perversity of little children who insist upon their legal measure of learning despite the deficiencies of classrooms and schoolhouses.
Now, in 1949, there are 900,000 classrooms in use.
This is 2/3 of the actual need.
We need 450,000 additional classrooms right now.
Right now, we are short 125,000 qualified teachers.
Some of our children are being taught in empty stores, in hallways, in cafeterias.
During the war, because there was no housing near my factory, I slept in shifts. When the men who worked the night shift got out, I got in. It was a hot bed. Now my kid goes to school and he studies in shifts. My kid is learning in a hot seat. It's no joke.
If it's bad now, it will be worse later. We forgot to plan for the children.
And though the Lord give you sparing bread and scant water, yet shall not thy teacher hide himself any more, but thine eyes shall see thy teacher, and thine ears shall hear a word behind thee, saying, This is the way, walk ye in it. Of all occupations, that of the teacher is most blessed. For he who teaches a child stands in the place of him who begot the child. It is a holy profession, and perhaps therefore a dishonored profession. In hundreds of rural schools, this happens every year.
Miss Nelson, what kind of letter you sent me?
What does it look like? It's my resignation.
Oh, we need you here. Miss Nelson, you're a good teacher.
I'm resigning.
You spent 4 years in normal school. You did 6 months of graduate work. Miss Nelson, you can't just throw that away.
I can and I do. I quit. I'm getting another job.
What will you do?
I've been hired to wait on tables at the depot diner.
Why not? You'll make more money there. I wish I had some gumption, Miss Nelson. They call me a principal. I get paid just a little more than a plumber's helper. 4 years of high school, 4 years of college, 2 years of graduate work, 25 years of teaching experience. Go on, Miss Nelson, run before you're trapped like me.
The average earnings of all teachers is 9% below the average earnings of all employed persons in the United States.
And on top of that, you're not even a teacher. You're a policeman. 60 children in a classroom made to accommodate 25 children. You're lucky if you can just maintain order.
Of all transgressions for which we say, Al Chechotonu, perhaps this is the most grievous, for we are stealing from our children. This is the statement of Oscar R. Ewing, Federal Security Administrator.
Public school education in America has become a lottery. If your child is lucky, you live in a community in which qualified teachers develop his aptitudes and talents and equip him to become a good provider and a good citizen. If he is unlucky, he attends a school manned by incompetents, enters the world shabbily equipped, and through no fault of his own, has less chance to make the most of himself.
My transgression. And if this is an American story, how much worse is the European story? And how much worse than Europe is Asia? And how much worse than Asia is Africa? Al Chechotonu, for the sin which we have committed before thee against our neighbor, forgive us. On the Day of Atonement, the ram's horn sounds for all the strivings of man and for all his frustrations. The book is nearly sealed, O Lord, the gate is closing. Be thou gracious in judgment of them whom we have forgotten and alienated and oppressed. Remember them in mercy, for they are forgotten because they are small in number, and alienated because of the pigment of their skin, and oppressed because of their weakness. Teach me to oppose evil without exaggerating the evil, and train me to build righteousness without magnifying myself. Give me the rectitude to fight injustice, especially my own. And for all men and women throughout the world, for America, for my neighbors, for their sons, for the homeless who sleep in the desert, for all who dream and suffer the mark of disappointment, for the sick who lie abed in pain, for them, and for my wife, and for my children, and for myself, I call out to you, open unto us the gates, even at the time of the closing of the gates. For the day is going fast, and the sun is low in the heavens. Yea, even as the sun doth set, O let us enter in thy gate.
If you would like a copy of today's script, please send your name and address with 10 cents to cover the cost of postage and handling to the Jewish Theological Seminary, 3080 Broadway, New York, 27, New York. And now we take pleasure in presenting Mr. Michael A. Stavitsky of Newark, New Jersey, President of the American Association for Jewish Education. Mr. Stavitsky.
Friends, the great strength of the American people has been its willingness to note its imperfections while taking justifiable pride in its accomplishments. Self-criticism is the highest form of criticism, a sign of the mature mind striving to better itself. It is the indispensable first step of progress. On the Day of Atonement, all Jews everywhere reflect on their sins of omission and commission. This year we think of the confused state of the world, and what a much better world this would be if all men and governments lived by righteousness and justice. We are profoundly thankful for the establishment of the State of Israel and for America's role in helping to make that possible. We think, with hope for all mankind, of our country and its evolving democratic way of life, which has drawn so much of its inspiration from the prophets and sages, the torchbearers of Judaism. And we think, too, of how much more we might do for our children and youth in supplementing their general education with a knowledge and appreciation of our cultural heritage. As informed, devoted, and dignified Jews, they are so much better equipped for life and better prepared to contribute to an American life of righteousness and justice. We have been neglectful of our young, and for this we ask forgiveness and the privilege to make amends. Let us resolve that no longer shall tens of thousands of Jewish children throughout America grow up utterly ignorant of their traditions and culture. No longer shall hundreds of thousands of Jewish children receive a meager Jewish education, and no longer shall our higher institutions of Jewish learning be inadequately maintained. During this High Holy Day season, which also brings Jewish Education Month and Week, and in keeping with our great Hebrew tradition, we resolve to consecrate ourselves to the promotion of Torah by intensifying and expanding Jewish education in our community life. We are convinced that Torah, broadly conceived and strengthened by the ideals of American democracy, will serve all of us as a beacon of light to dispel the clouds of antisocial forces that are still loose in the world about us.
Thank you, Mr. Stavitsky. You're tuned for the stars on NBC.
Saying, command the children of Israel that they bring unto thee pure oil olive, beaten for the light, to cause the lamps to burn continually in the tabernacle of the congregation. And it shall be a statute forever in your generations.
The eternal light. The National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations make free time available to present The Eternal Light, a program which comes to you under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. Today's program, the 7th in our 5th anniversary series, is Joseph and Benjamin by Peter Lyon.
And there was in Egypt a prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound. Dozens and scores of those who had found disfavor in the eyes of the courtiers of the king, whose name was called Pharaoh. And it came to pass that one day Pharaoh sent and called, and the keeper of this prison went hastily to the dungeon and called forth from the dungeon one prisoner.
Quiet, dogs! Taste of my whip should cure your thirst.
Which one of you is Joseph, born a Hebrew?
No, not me. He's over there.
I'm Joseph. What would you with me?
Follow me. Quick, no questions. The rest of you, your food and drink is coming when I please. Here's clothing, Jew, but first you'll wash and shave.
Is that an order or an invitation?
A word has come from Pharaoh. He would see you. Would you come to stand before the king in rags and lousy from the dungeon?
He's not my king.
Now listen.
I'll wash and shave and wear clean raiment. Not to please your king,
We
but
wear such talk.
just to advertise how clean you keep this pest house.
Would there was time to teach you proper awe, mighty Pharaoh.
Your razor's lost its edge.
Remember, when you get there, he'll be thrown atop a flight of 66 steps. His crown outshines the sun. He stands 6 cubits tall. While you're nothing but a Hebrew slave, a worm, the dust beneath his feet. You hear?
I hear.
And when you enter, you're to knock your head 3 times upon the floor. And when you speak, your eyes must be averted, lest his glory blind you, for he's satisfied his whim in bidding you to come.
Is this the best you've got for clothes?
Ungrateful dog.
Call me a dog? I swear if opportunity presents while I'm with the king, I'll so contrive that those poor devils down below will teach you how it feels to have the lash across your back.
What, slave?
Enough! Which way will you take me to your king?
So this is Pharaoh.
You looked for more?
Where's the king 6 cubits tall? Where the dazzling crown of amethyst and gold to blind my eyes? Where the throne atop the 66 ebony encrusted steps? Where the mountain lion purring at your heels?
You must concede my courtiers do not lack imagination.
I'll concede a stupid effort aimed at making men believe you're more than man.
But you're not fooled. And all you see is just a feeble man grown fat with callous life, whose hair is falling out, whose hands are soft and pale.
That's right.
Your eyes are very sharp.
If you would shrink a king down small as man and smaller...
Yes?
Then spend 2 years in that king's jail. See who's imprisoned. Ask the reason why. Learn how poverty is a crime in Egypt. See the cunning punishments contrived for those who have contempt for that king's courtiers and failed to seek their favor. Witness how they're whipped and starved each day. Count the bodies of their dead each evening. Then skulk home by secret alleys, take a mirror, steal a look at that same king, and see how you have shrunk.
Your tongue is bold for one who was born a slave.
I was not born a slave.
In Canaan, whence I came, my father is a chief of rank and honor, and I his favorite son.
And yet a jailbird here in Egypt. What was your crime that you should be in jail?
My crime?
1,000 pardons. What did they say you did who clapped you under irons?
Invite your answer from the wife of Potiphar, your captain.
The wife of Potiphar? A sultry wench. Zuleika, that's her name. A roving eye, flirtatious disposition. I'll wager she has had affairs with 20 strong young men. What? Why, you're the sort of youngster that she'd have. I see it all. She winked at you and you went walking past. I'm right?
Yes, sire.
So scorned, she screams, claims you attacked her.
And lands me in jail. You will forgive me, sire. I cannot join your merriment. Her waspish tongue has kept me jailed for these 2 years.
Yes, of course. Slight punishment for such a dreadful crime.
There were those among my jailmates that done less. But there they were. And on your orders, sire.
Young man, you seem persuaded of your own superiority.
In Egypt, Pharaoh is the law and should ensure the justice of his law. And should inquire, why is it that his law, and thus his very self, is hated by his people?
Strong words.
I am no courtier, sire.
That's evident enough. You know why I have bid you come?
No, sire.
They told me you were wise beyond your years. They told me you could pass the meaning of a dream.
A dream?
Surely dreams are child's play for a man who'd give instructions to a king.
A dream is filled with many strange devices.
All the wisdom of my wisest men is founded on this dream. I've highest hopes that you will not fail me. You seem so certain of yourself.
If God is with me, I'll translate your dream.
Do I detect some slight uncertainty? Who is this God that you must call upon almost as though you needed the excuse that, should you fail, it was only he that failed you?
I'll hear your dream. Go on, speak.
In my dream, behold, I stood upon the bank of the river. And behold, there came up out of the river 7 kine, fat-fleshed and well-favored. And they fed in a meadow. And behold, 7 other kine came up after them, poor and very ill-favored and lean-fleshed, such as I never saw in all the land of Egypt for badness. And the lean and the ill-favored kine did eat up the first 7 fat kine. And when they had eaten them up, it could not be known that they had eaten them, but they were still ill-favored as at the beginning. And I saw in my dream, and behold, 7 ears of corn came up in one stalk, full and good. And behold, 7 ears withered, thin and blasted with the east wind, sprung up after them. And the thin ears devoured the 7 good ears. And those were my dreams.
Your 2 dreams say the same. The 7 kine are 7 years. The 7 ears of corn are likewise 7 years. And God is warning Pharaoh. After 7 years of plenty cometh 7 years of famine. Both dreams were the same. In Egypt there will be a time of plenty. Then the lean years will consume the land.
Now here's a wise interpretation.
And God is teaching Pharaoh. Harvest shrewdly. Set aside 1/5 of all your Egypt's food for each of 7 years and store it up in granaries against the 7 years of famine.
My wise magician spoke of 7 kings a quarreling, and 7 cities toppled in the dust, and 7 wives and 7 sons, a farrago of witlessness. You say your God advised the symbols of my dream?
He so ordained.
Who is this God, and where is he? I'd like to look upon him.
Can Pharaoh look upon the sun and not be blinded?
Of course not. Your God's the sun?
My God created sun and moon and stars. If Pharaoh can't look on the sun, then how can...
All right. What matters now is that you passed the meaning of my dream.
God helping me.
And did your God same time suggest a meaning that will take 12 years and more to verify? Don't answer. You will deny it. Joseph?
Sire?
You have much wit, a quality to be admired, and you have pluck. There's need for such a man as you at my right hand. My wisest men are fools, my bravest captains fops, who scarce can lift their swords. I need a man to rule my land.
You choose a slave?
You cannot even act the part of slave.
Besides, I like the way your God advises you. If he can make you wise and so discreet, so then you'll do the same for me.
I'll open up the jails and free the men whose crime was being poor.
There was a time when I was poor myself.
If I'm to rule the land, I'll change your laws, with new and better men to force them.
You said my laws had fathered only hate.
I'll have your word to back me up.
I give this ring from off my hand to seal our bargain. There.
Praise be to God.
As you say. Go, call the palace guard. I'd have them know that I've set you over all the land of Egypt.
And Pharaoh put the gold chain about his neck, and they cried before him, "Bow the knee," and he was ruler over all the land of Egypt. And in the 7 plenteous years, the earth brought forth by the handfuls. And Joseph gathered corn as the sand of the sea very much, until he left numbering, for it was without number. And the 7 years of dearth began to come, according as Joseph had said. And when all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. And Pharaoh said unto all the Egyptians,
Apply to Joseph. Do whatever he shall say.
And Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold unto the Egyptians. And the famine waxed sore, and the dearth was in all lands over all the face of the earth. And Joseph sat at the right hand of Pharaoh and spoke with his officers.
You've published my decree in all the foreign lands, Arabia, Phoenicia, Canaan.
It's as you ordered, sir.
Decree? And what decree was this?
An offer, mighty Pharaoh, sent to all our neighbors, telling them to come and buy our corn whenas they lack.
Our corn? Invite our deadly foes to buy our treasured corn? You must be mad.
No matter what their tribe, they are our brothers. God has said that we should succor those who want.
You'd feed our bloody-minded enemies and make them strong?
If we are rich and sell them none, then they are foes. If they have none and buy from us, then they are friends.
That's true enough. You mix your charity with wisdom.
Officer, you're sure that my decree has reached as far as Canaan?
Certain, sir.
Then set a watch at all the city's gates. And bring me word when certain men from Canaan, sons of Jacob, come to buy our corn. That's all.
It shall be done as you've required, my lord.
Canaan, sons of Jacob, friends of yours?
My brothers.
Oh, you plan a feast to honor them.
I plan revenge.
What's this?
It was they who sold me into slavery. Tore off my coat, then tossed me in a pit alive with snakes. Then flung me to a band of Midianitish merchants into bondage for 20 bits of silver.
So that's the way of it. I wondered how you came to be a slave.
I've waited for this moment 20 years.
Now, by my gods and yours, the day has never passed without fresh testimony of your subtlety. O wisest, slyest serpent thou.
Even squirm.
Who else but you would free the poor unjustly jailed? Revise our laws to benefit the general as though each was your flesh and blood. Feed the hungry from whatever foreign land. Insist all men are brothers, but not ever swerve an inch from your most just resolve to kill.
My brothers.
No sickly sentiment, no conscientious qualm. Did ever king rejoice in such a viceroy?
Will you excuse me, sire?
Not going, Joseph.
I have much to do before I sup.
You'll surely let me witness your revenge.
I'll tell you if my brothers come. Farewell.
He's young, and therefore stubborn. Yet he'll change his mind.
Come.
My lord, the men you asked about are here.
Then send them in at once. I'll see them now.
All right, come on. My lord, the viceroy waits.
Which one of you is spokesman for the rest?
I'll speak, my lord.
Your name?
Is Judah, sir.
Whence are you come?
We've come from Canaan, sir, to purchase corn.
You lie.
My lord.
My men report that you're spies. They say that you'll come to see the nakedness of our defense, to plan a war.
But this report is false, my lord.
What's that you say?
We're true men, my lord, and all one father's sons. We're no spies.
You say?
Your servants are 12 brothers, sir, the sons of Jacob in the land.
12, you say? Now I know you lie. I count but 10.
Our youngest brother, Benjamin, remained at home.
And where's the 12th?
He's dead.
A quick, convenient death to fit your lie.
My lord.
Have done. I still suspect you're spies, and here's how I'll test your story. One of you I'll bind in chains as forfeit. Go the rest of you and fetch your youngest brother back, if such there really be. So shall your words be verified.
It is impossible. My lord, what you propose is harsh, for we are peaceful men and only come to purchase cause.
Will you select your hostage, or shall I?
I'll stay.
But Simeon!
I'll stay. It was I who would have killed our brother Joseph years ago. Now, therefore, this distress has come on us from God. Get all ye hence for home. I'll stay.
Oh, God, arrest this man and cast him into jail.
Simeon!
You others, speed you on your way if you would save your brother's life and prove that you're honest men.
And it came to pass that Joseph's brethren took of the best fruits in the land for a present, and Benjamin, and rose up and went down again to Egypt, and stood before Joseph, and bowed themselves to him to the earth. And they said unto him,
Behold, my lord, your servants have returned.
You've brought the proof that you are honest men?
Once more we number 10, my lord. For here is Benjamin.
May God be gracious to you, Benjamin.
My lord believes we are not spies.
And is your father well, the man of whom you spoke?
My father has good health, my lord.
And Benjamin, you have a wife?
A wife and 10 sons, my lord.
10 sons. How are they called?
My lord should know I had a brother once, my mother's son, who disappeared. And so my children's names are each symbolic of his loss. Bela, which means my brother is lost. Becher, the firstborn to my mother. Ashbel, our father grieves his loss. Gera, he dwells in some strange land. Naaman, he was exceeding fair. Ehi, he was my mother's only other son. Rosh, he was the wisest of us all. Mupim, his heart was good. Hupim, he did not see my wedding day. And Ard, he will return one day.
You must have loved you.
Well, if now my lord is satisfied we're not spies, Judah.
He does not hear you.
Have you forgot, my lord, our brother Simeon? My lord!
And so, my son, revenge no longer smiles so sweet.
Oh, Pharaoh, so long to wait, and now there is not room for both within my heart.
Your brother Benjamin has come with them?
And memory twists in me like a knife. He was a boy when last I saw him, and now he's a man. For his and for our father's sake, I'd summon up forgiveness.
Yes.
Then I remember how I pleaded, how I called to them for mercy, how they laughed and jeered and stripped the coat from off my back. I see again their cold contempt.
How can you know they've changed?
That's it.
How surely know their manner now is not assumed. A careful, sly hypocrisy they wear when as they stand before a mighty Lord.
Yes, how?
I'd conjure up a test.
Go on.
Should you, for instance, take some trinket, say this golden goblet here would serve, and cunningly contrive to thrust it in among your brother Benjamin's effects.
Yes?
Apologize for doubting they were honest men, you see, then bid them all Godspeed, direct them on their way.
But how?
You straightway send some soldiers in pursuit, arrest them all, accuse them all of theft, which, when denied, is proved.
It's proved that Benjamin has...
Announce in angry tones that he who stole the cup must henceforth be your slave and serve you all your life. And then...
And then?
Why, then you wait and see. What will they do? take to their heels and flee and quit their youngest brother, satisfied to keep their own skins whole?
I see.
Or will they fight, cry thunder in your teeth, flash out their swords and swear to die, protecting him who is their flesh and blood? Which, if they do...
Forgiveness comes.
And they'll be worthy brothers of my viceroy.
An artful scheme and fair. I'll give the word at once.
And Joseph commanded the steward of his house, thus and so, and it was done according to his word. As soon as the morning was light, the men were sent away. And when they were going out of the city, and not yet far off, the soldiers overtook them, and the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. Then they rent their clothes and returned to the city. And they came to Joseph's house, and they fell before him on the ground.
What deed is this that you have done? Knew you not that such a man as I can certainly divine?
What shall we say unto my lord? What shall we speak? How shall we clear ourselves?
Now, for this wrong, I'll serve a judgment. He in whose hand the cup was found shall henceforth be my slave and stay with me in Egypt. As for you others, get you up and go in peace unto your father.
My lord.
What would you?
If we return to Canaan now, father sees that Benjamin is not among us.
Yes?
His life is bound up in the life of Benjamin, his son. Without him, he will die.
But what concern is this of mine?
My lord can spare an old man's sorrow.
And did he think of that who stole my cup of gold?
My lord, I pray thee mercy.
Mercy's no concern of mine.
My lord, I swore unto my father, if I bring him not to Canaan, that I bear the blame forevermore.
So then?
So therefore, sir, I pray thee, let the lad go with his brethren.
No.
Wait! I will stay myself to be your bondsman in his place.
What's that you say?
That I would stay myself to be your bondsman in his place.
Here's vindication of the test.
My lord.
Judah. Brother. I'm Joseph. I'm your brother and your father's son.
The lost is found.
Yes, I'm your brother Joseph, whom you sold in bondage into Egypt. Be not grieved nor angry with yourselves that you did sell me. God ordained that I should thus be sent here. Full oath was given me to save your lives from famine.
Our brother is the leader of us all.
And we're forgiven?
More. We're reunited. Come, for Pharaoh waits to bid you welcome.
I give you greeting. Here's a happy time. Arise and go now. Take the news to him whose sons ye are, and say it is my wish that he and all his tribe come down to live in Egypt while this famine shall endure. Your brother Joseph wears the purple here. He cannot leave. His home must come to him. And if your father should object and say he's no Egyptian, nor can find a home down here where men have always warred with Jews, tell him that Pharaoh's royal helping hand is humbly offered in his need, as when one day I need, he'll offer his in turn. This is the truth that Joseph taught to me, then learned himself, that every man is keeper for his brother.
If you would like a copy of today's script, please send your name and address with 10 cents to cover the cost of postage and handling to the Jewish Theological Seminary, 3080 Broadway, New York 27, New York. And now we take pleasure in presenting Mr. Harry Brandt, distinguished civic leader and president of Brandt Theaters. Mr. Brandt.
Many centuries ago, Joseph learned that man was keeper for his brother. He had known that this superficially as a truism, then rediscovered it as a truth. We, too, as we return to the Bible, gain a more profound understanding of its teachings. Men of goodwill are united in their concern for the well-being of man not merely because experience proves this to be the most practical policy of human behavior, but because love for our fellow man is a moral imperative. Helping your brother because someday you may need help from him is a calculated and shrewd practice. But helping him because conscience and heart command your aid is an act of pure nobility. In our 20th century, we call the one enlightened self-interest, the other brotherhood. Joseph knew all about enlightened self-interest from the start. It was his guiding principle as Pharaoh's advisor. He freed the prisoners not only to right a wrong, but also so that Pharaoh's government would be respected and therefore strong. He fed the neighboring countries not only in the spirit of charity, but also as a means of purchasing their friendship. Our statesmen today, like Joseph, understand the interrelation and interdependence of all the peoples of the world. They have persuaded us that the well-being of our fellow man is vital to our own survival. As a result, we in America have given aid to an extent never before thought possible. Enlightened self-interest is therefore a motto which has encouraged us to do much that is beneficial. It is a weapon for good. But it is only a weapon and not good itself. For self-interest, no matter how enlightened, can never be synonymous with good. Joseph's act in pardoning his brothers was therefore different from his act in pardoning the prisoners. For he forgave his brothers, not with the thought that they might be able to help him in the future, but disinterestedly, moved purely by his love for them. There is, I think, an important distinction to be made here, one which we are in danger of forgetting today. It is good to help our fellow man because we thereby help ourselves. But it is better still to help him only for the reason that he is our brother.
Thank you, Mr. Brent. Our Eternal Light drama today was Joseph and Benjamin by Peter Lyon. The music was composed by Morris Pomorsky and conducted by Milton Katins. Cantor David Putterman sang the liturgical introduction. Alexander Scourby was Joseph and Edgar Staley was Pharaoh. The production was under the direction of Frank Papp. Free time to present the Eternal Light is made available by the National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations. This weekly program is presented under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
Spake unto Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel that they bring unto thee pure oil olive, beaten for the light, to cause the lamps to burn continually in the tabernacle of the congregation. And it shall be a statute forever in your generations.
The Eternal Light. The National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations make free time available to present The Eternal Light, a program which comes to you under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. Today's program, the 8th in our 5th anniversary series, is An American Ballad, adapted for radio by Irv Tunick from the book entitled The Man Who Stayed in Texas by Ann Nathan and Harry I. Cohen.
In all the state of Texas, from Fort Worth to San Antone, there's not a man who hasn't heard of Rabbi Henry Cohen. The sick, the poor, the needy, no matter what their creed, his heart is always open to a fellow man in need. And his story bears repeating time and time again, for it teaches us the meaning of the brotherhood of men. Now, in case you haven't heard it, though I reckon it's well known, I'd like to tell you all about this Rabbi Henry Cohen. If you ever get to Texas, to Galveston someday, you're driving in your auto and the car gets in your way.
Cut out that racket.
But, officer, that car in front, it stopped right in the middle of the road. It's blocking the whole street.
And do you think you're Joshua and going to blow it out of the way with your horn? Just you be quiet. I'll handle this.
Everybody drives a car. 10 to 1, it's a woman.
Now, just what do you think you're doing? Stopping that way in the middle of the... Well, now, if it isn't Rabbi Cohen. Good day, sir, and how are you feeling?
Very well, Officer O'Malley. How's the family?
The family, Rabbi Cohen, is thriving. And yours?
We're all well.
That's good. That's good. Miss Molly?
Fine.
It's wonderful.
Did you hear what Molly said to that reporter from the news the other day?
Tell me now.
Well, this reporter, he maybe thought he could make Molly blush. So he asked her if she was older than I am.
And what did Miss Molly say?
She said, I'm 86. Sure, I'm older than the rabbi. Why shouldn't I be? I'm his boss. That's Molly.
Say now, what have you got on your cuff today?
Oh, busy. First in the hospital, then after looking at the jail.
Tell me now, for how many years have you been using your cuff to write your appointments on?
Always. As long as I've been in Galveston. 60 years.
No, it is as long as that, is it?
60 years. I've used up a lot of cuffs. One of the only arguments I ever had with Molly was on account of my cuffs. Once I came home in the middle of the day for a shower. I took off my shirt, put it on a chair. Then while I was in the shower, who should come by but the laundryman? Molly gave him my shirt with all my appointments written on the cuff. It washed out the rest of my day. Oh, my. I think I'm holding up traffic.
Oh, it's nothing, Rabbi. But maybe you better be careful of stopping in the middle of the street the way you do to speak to people. We got some new boys on the force, and, you know, one of them might just be mean enough to write you out a ticket.
Oh, of course. Goodbye. Shalom.
You can say that again.
Shalom.
All right, now I'll take a look at your license.
What? My license? Well, you're not going to give me a ticket.
And that I am.
But for what?
For what do you think? For disturbing the peace.
Rabbi Cohen was born in England, across the wide, white sea. From there he went to Africa, Cape Town and Kimberley. And there he fought the Zulus, was back some 60 hours. But even till this very day, he still shows off his scars. He went back home to England, but not long did he stay. For the star of fate he followed led to the USA. In Woodville, Mississippi, his great career begun. and soon he was invited to dear old Galveston. So Texas found a fighter in Rabbi Henry Cohn, and from Waco to El Paso, his name was soon well known.
You are Major Lowe?
Why, yes.
I'm Rabbi Henry Cohn.
Why, I'm glad to meet you, sir.
Here in your paper, the news. Look here.
Well, what about it? You mean this story about the fire?
This story about the fire.
Well?
It says here a fellow named Simpson had a fire in his stable. The whole stable burned down.
Yes.
Well?
Well, what?
What is Simpson's religion? What church does he attend?
Religion? Church? How do I know?
Ah, you don't know?
I don't care. His religion isn't news.
It's not important?
Not as a news item, no.
Not necessary to mention it?
Of course not.
Now, Major Lowe, let me read you another news item from the news. You printed it last week. Listen. Yesterday, just after noon, the warehouse of Herman Miller, Hebrew merchant, was totally destroyed by an accidental blaze. You mentioned Herman Miller's religion, Major. What I want to know is this. What is Simpson's religion?
Yeah. I think I understand what you mean, Dr. Cohen. I apologize. I'm sorry. You have my word that it'll never happen again.
It soon became a custom among the poor and sick to bring to him their troubles, and he would fix them quick. Now if a woman had a husband that drank up all his pay, though it seemed no one could help her, the rabbi'd find a way. He never asked your church whether Christian, Jew, or Moor. You could always count on the rabbi if you were sick or poor. Now, once a man named Lemchuk was held aboard a ship. He'd come from Tsarist Russia to escape the lash and whip. But when he came upon our shores, a passport he did lack. And now he was in irons, they were gonna send him back.
I can't eat. Not a bite.
Now, Henry.
If they send him back, he'll be murdered. They'll kill him.
But it's the law.
What kind of law is it that lets a man be murdered?
But you've done everything you could.
No, not everything.
Where are you going now?
The only place left to go. Washington. Pack my bag, Molly. I'm going over to the Levy's to borrow $100.
We're sorry, Dr. Cohen, but there's nothing we can do here in the Immigration Service. Not a thing.
We can't interfere, Rabbi. This isn't a State Department matter.
I'd like to help you out, Dr. Cohn, but I'm only a congressman. I can't do a thing.
Yes, you can do one thing.
What?
Give me a letter of introduction to President Taft.
The president?
He's my only chance. My last chance. Please, write me the letter.
And this man...
Lemchuk, Mr. President. Ivan Lemchuk.
Yes, Lemchuk. He entered the country illegally. Is that right?
He has no passport.
There's nothing I can do. Really, Dr. Cohen, the law is law. I know how it is. Believe me, I do. These cases are always heartbreaking.
I see. It was kind of you to see me.
I'm glad you came. I must say that I'm deeply moved by your appeal, and the fact that you, Rabbi, have made this long journey to plead for a man who is not a member of your congregation nor of your religious faith.
All faiths have this in common, Mr. President. an abiding belief in the will of man to help another who is in need. Without that faith, what are we? Lemchucks. All of us. Lemchucks. Do you understand Hebrew, Mr. President?
No, I'm afraid I don't.
Well, in Hebrew, the word for charity is tzedakah, and it also means righteousness. I have come all this way not for charity, but for righteousness. Lemchuk is a human being. His plight doesn't call for charity. It calls for righteousness, for justice.
Yes, Mr. President? Take a telegram. It goes to Chief Inspector of Immigration of Galveston. Say, hold Lemchuk in Galveston and release in custody of Rabbi Cohen on his return from Washington. Inside my name.
Is that all, sir?
That's all. I feel better that I did it. You know, Rabbi Cohen, it's good to do good things.
In Galveston, the rabbi was a landmark of sorts. He was known in all the hospitals, the jailhouse, and the courts. When Jack Johnson, the famous fighter, was in the town caboose, on the word of Rabbi Cohen, the sheriff turned him loose. Always kind and always gentle, his language never rough. All the little cares of Texas he carried on his cuff. Now here's another story told time and time again. It happened many years ago, way back in 1910.
Rabbi Cohen! Rabbi Cohen! Oh, Meg! I'll be right with you.
Hello, Meg.
I got your call down at the paper. What's up?
Are the news still sending you all over Texas looking for human interest stories with the paper?
Yeah.
I got one for you right here in Galveston. Stick around.
What goes?
Megs, have you ever heard of Jacob Schiff? Sure, Kuhn Loeb and Company. Well, Mr. Schiff has given us enough money to start something here in Galveston known as the Jewish Immigrants Information Bureau.
Meaning what?
Well, you know what's happening in Russia. You've read of how the soldiers of the Tsar are hounding my people.
Yeah?
Well, many of these poor people have escaped. They're coming to America. Most of them, of course, land in New York, where they have so little chance to work in their own trades. They get lost, swallowed up by the ghetto.
I've seen it.
And that's a terrible thing. It's bad for the immigrants, and it's bad for the country. These people have trades. They're shoemakers, bakers, butchers, carpenters, farmers, and America can use their work. So that is it. Instead of New York, they're coming to Galveston. Here, we'll look after them and arrange to send them to communities that need their services. It's better all around.
And these
are our first immigrants. Mostly they're from around Kishinev. Wait, there's the mayor.
The mayor?
Yes, I asked Mr. Landers to come down and greet them officially. Good morning, Mr. Landers.
Hello. Hello, Rabbi Cohen.
Come in. Here are the people. I'd like to have you say something to them.
Why, sure.
You go ahead. I'll translate what you say.
All right.
Wait a minute. Also sein Schach. Seid ihr so gut, seid alle still. Ich will euch doch alle bekennen mit Mr. Landers. All right, Mr. Landers.
Well, now, first off, I congratulate you folks on coming to a fine country like the United States.
Gratuliert euch, so ihr habt solche gewesen zu kommen können Amerika.
I hope you appreciate the privilege of becoming American citizens.
I hope it wird sein gut für Amerikaner.
I want to say that I'm proud to be here with my good friend Rabbi Henry Cohn to greet you personally.
Sollte sehr zufrieden zu sein, do, und persönlich als McCobbler Ponen sein.
And I extend to you all the welcome of the city of Galveston.
Und in Namen von der Stadt Galveston gibt euch alle mein auf warmen Baruch Haba.
Rebbe, seid ihr sehr gut. Ich will etwas sagen.
Gewiss. Was wird sagen?
Seid ihr sehr gut, Rebbe. Sagt der Mayor, als in dem Land, von welchem wir kommen, wo das nicht gekannt vorkommen.
Mr. Mayor, this man says that they know that this scene could not happen in the old country.
In dem Städtel, von welchem wir kommen, wollte der Mayor uns mit Kabelpotten gewinnen mit der Beitsch.
In the old country, the only greeting they would get from the mayor was with a whip.
Und anstatt der Beitsch hat uns gegeben ein warmen Shalom Aleichem.
Instead of the whip, you have clasped the hands.
Wir werden das keinmal nicht vergessen.
This, they will never forget.
The hours swept by swiftly, the days not long enough to do the things, the many things he'd written on his cuff. The months and years that followed were rich for Rabbi Cohn. He spent his time for others, their needs he made his own. When a student needed money to finish out his course, the rabbi'd always get it from a certain secret source. When youngsters got in trouble, their parents always came to the little house on Broadway that bore the rabbi's name.
Now come, if you want me to help you must tell me the story.
They beat him. With a leather whip, they beat him. Just because a boy is in prison, do they have the right to whip him?
You know this is the truth?
He wrote me. And yesterday, a boy who was in with him, he came to the house. He told me too.
All right.
Why did they do it?
I don't know. Someday they won't. That's what we're working for now. A reform of the whole prison system. But it takes time. Everything takes time. When I first came to Texas, a long time ago, believe me, when I first came, the age of consent for a girl was only 10. Think of it, just 10. We worked and got them to change that. We'll get prison reform, too.
But what can you do?
Leave it to me. I'll do something for your boy.
Look at that record. Just look at it. 17 years old and a criminal record a yard long. Petty thievery, stealing cars, stick-ups.
I know it, but the boy has learned his lesson. Let him have a parole. I'll be responsible.
Parole this kid? Not in a million years. Not to you or anybody.
Is that so?
Just what do you think you're doing, Rabbi Cohn?
I just locked the door.
Well, unlock it.
I won't unlock that door until you agree to parole this boy.
What? Well, I
You
never...
know, Your Honor, you're a fine one to refuse to give this youngster another chance. You, of all people. Maybe you don't remember, but I do. How many times I helped you when you were in trouble. Yet you reformed. You came back and won for yourself a high position in the community. Now I ask you, can you, of all people, refuse this boy a chance to become, as you did, a decent, self-respecting citizen? Perhaps even like you, a leader of the community. You can't refuse. can.
No, you're right. I can't refuse.
Now once this land was poisoned by a lawless, vicious band. As the rabbi fought injustice, he fought the Ku Klux Klan. Once he was invited to a luncheon when he saw a Klansman sitting silent at a table near the door. He rose and faced the stranger. The stranger's face grew red. Then he turned to all the people, and this is what he said.
Before I start, Mr. Chairman, may I say this? When I go into a ward in a hospital, I never think to ask what religion each patient professes, or whether he has any religion at all. It's enough for me that he is sick. To me, there is no such thing as Episcopalian scarlet fever, Catholic arthritis, or Jewish mumps. As disease can claim no denomination, neither can evil. No one group is all black or all white. In truth, we are all gray. This is neither the time nor the place to attempt to answer bigotry, if ever bigotry can be answered by fact. I'm not afraid of the bigot, the persecutor, because they cannot persist. Every tradition of social progress is against them. History is against them. Men of goodwill are against them. And Almighty God is against them. And now, Mr. Chairman, I will proceed to the subject that has been assigned me. Marriage customs among the ancient Greeks.
After 50 years of service in 1938, the people came to honor him from all the Lone Star State, from Houston and from Dallas, Fort Worth and San Antone. They all came down to shake the hand of Rabbi Henry Cohn. Thousands crowded in the hall, the governor was there. Senators and congressmen, they crowded everywhere. And then the hall grew quiet, and this little man arose. He looked a little out of place in his strictly formal clothes. His lips moved in a prayer, a tear rolled down his cheek, and then he smiled a tender smile, and then began to speak.
It hardly seems like 50 years since first I came to Galveston. I must say this. If what I have done has been good, then it must be because here I have found good play. And if any honor must be given me, then it must also be given my dearest companion, my wife, Molly. My dear friends, the supreme command of the Bible is, love thy fellow man as thyself. Or, as the great Hillel said, what is displeasing unto thee, thou shalt not do unto another. I believe that. I have tried to shape my life according to that belief.
all the state of Texas from Fort Worth to San Antone. There's not a man who hasn't heard of Rabbi Henry Cohen. The sick, the poor, the needy, no matter what their creed, his heart is always open to a fellow man in need. And his story bears repeating time and time again, for it teaches us the meaning of the brotherhood of men.
If you would like a copy of today's script, please send your name and address with 10 cents to cover the cost of postage and handling to the Jewish Theological Seminary, 3080 Broadway, New York 27, New York. Our Eternal Light drama today, An American Ballad, has been adapted for radio by Irv Tunick from the book entitled The Man Who Stayed in Texas by Ann Nathan and Harry I. Cohen. Featured as the ballad singer was Tom Glazer, and Peter Capell was Rabbi Cohen. The music was composed by Morris Momorsky and conducted by Milton Cadens. Cantor David Putterman sang the liturgical introduction. The production was under the direction of Frank Pack. Free time to present the Eternal Light is made available by the National Broadcasting Company